Good morning, everybody. Got about 5 minutes till we start. I'm just setting up my computer now. This YouTube thing, I'm not quite sure how to set it up beforehand, so I've got to do it now while I'm live, and I just want you to see me and to see my bench top. So bear with me while I just navigate my Tupperware containers, which are just the most perfect things. Let me see. Can you see the bench? Yes. Can you see the cooktop? Yes. Can you see me? No. All right. Bear with me. All right. How's that go? Okay, that's pretty good. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Hi, I've got my glasses on so I can see. Hi, Deanna. Good to see you here. We are a bit early. We've got a few minutes to go, so I am just going to get ready, make sure everything's set up properly. Bear with me for a few minutes. Hope everyone is having a good Sunday morning so far. Yay, we got an extra hour sleep here in New South Wales and Victoria in Australia, which is very exciting, is it? Okay, hopefully everybody is getting their things together. We'll start in about 3 minutes. I'm just going to get everything ready. All right. I think this is good. Is everyone happy with that? Okay, I'm just going to move the computer just the tiniest bit, and then I'm going to be ready to start. Just bear with me. We will start at 11 a.m. sharp because that's what time it's supposed to start. I hope that this works out well and that I've got the right place to start. I think so, because if Deanna's here, then all of you can be here. So good morning. Please feel free to chat. Don't worry about Danny making a coffee. I'm just going to switch some things off that are making noise. Bear with me again. All right. That's better. Danny, I'm live, but don't worry about that. That's okay. You didn't need that, did you? Good morning, everybody who's with me. Will you please say hello? I want to know if you're there. Thank you, Deanna, for doing that, because it makes me feel like I'm not talking to no one, which is sort of a good thing. Hello. What's happening in your world today? I hope that everyone made use of the extra hour of sleep. I don't know about you, but I sort of went to bed an hour later than I would have gone to bed, thinking I'm going to have an extra hour sleep. But then for some reason I woke up an hour earlier. So I think it didn't work for me. Yes, I have. I have given the dogs toast. We give our dogs toast every morning. It's just what we do in a house. They get sourdough toast with a little bit of butter and Vegemite. I think that's strange for dogs. Yeah, I do too. But that's what the habit we're into, and now they sort of expect it. As soon as they see Danny come downstairs and get the bread out, Danny, they know that they're getting toast. All right, good morning. Good morning, those of you who are just joining. We have got 1 minute to go before we start. I'm just going to give my glasses a little bit of a clean, my apron, so I can read what you are saying to me. All right. Nothing like having Danny here when I'm doing a live. It just adds to the joy of being in the kitchen.
Performance art.
Yes. All right. Are we all good to go? How are we going? Okay, 11 a.m. Let us start. Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to have some of you here live with me in real time, which is fantastic. And I'm also going to be talking to the people that are going to watch later as well. Good morning, Aura. So good to see you. It's really wonderful to be doing these lives again. And the reason I'm doing it today, a few reasons. One, most exciting, I've got a new episode coming out tomorrow night on this channel. It is Leafy Lunch Salads, and it is one of my favorite episodes so far. And what I'd love you to do is to not, of course, watch it, but to subscribe to the channel, because that will help me be able to make more episodes and more seasons in the future. So please do that, and like the post if you like the video, if you like it. If you don't like it, tell me why. Love you to leave a comment and so on. So that's reason one we're doing this today, because after all the leafy lunch salads you're going to watch me eat and cook make, I should say, and cook after the episode, you're going to want to eat this chocolate cake just to balance out, you know, all those greens. Second reason is Passover is coming up starting on Thursday this week. This is the perfect cake for Passover. No flour. It's perfectly, it's just perfect for Passover. That's all I'll say. And it lasts really well. You can make it a few days ahead. And the third reason, of course, is Easter, which is also this weekend. Good Friday is in a few days, 5 days to be precise. And we all like to eat chocolate at Easter time. So this is a great cake if you've got family over, you're entertaining, you're celebrating Easter. Perfect cake for that. I want to tell you a little bit about this cake. So it's called, it comes from our most recent cookbook, which is Monday Morning Cooking Clubs Now for Something Sweet. And the recipe actually comes from Danny's mother, Talia, who was an amazing, amazing cook and inspired and taught me so much. This was her cake. And you'll see the picture I posted on all social media was a big round one. That's the size that she originally gave me. And just over the years, I've wanted to make smaller cakes. So I've turned it into a loaf cake, which just is beautiful for 8 people. If you want to make the bigger one, just double the recipe, use a 24 or 26 centimetre tin, or go to the book or the Monday Morning Cooking Club website for that full recipe. So I'm going to make Talia's double chocolate walnut cake in a loaf tin. Now, the reason it's called double is because you've got chocolate in the cake and then you've got this amazing icing. I do have to say the directions for the frosting or the icing in the book are not quite correct. So I'm going to put the correct ones under the video today, and it's all about following step by step to get that right. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Let's get started with this cake. These are the ingredients you're going to need to make the loaf cake. Firstly, a loaf tin. I said in the recipe that you want to have a wider based loaf tin, only because it gives you more room to spread the icing, because the icing is delicious. So if you've got a wider one than this, it's really a little bit better. But both work absolutely fine. First thing we're going to do is put the oven on to 160 degrees Celsius, which is about 320 Fahrenheit. Okay, so that's something that I want you to do right now if you're cooking along. If you're not cooking along, obviously, you do not need to put your oven on. So let's oven on 160 Celsius. Let's, where we start? All right, let's start with the ingredients that you're going to need today. For the cake, you are going to need 50 grams of chocolate, and I'm using Lindt 70%. 50 grams. What I love about Lindt is that each square is 10 grams, so you don't even have to weigh it. 50 grams of Lindt and 20 grams of unsalted butter in there. I'm going to melt those together in a minute. I've got 110 grams, which is sort of a good cup of walnut halves. I just want to say about walnuts, often the ones you buy in packets in the supermarket are rancid. And the only way to tell is, of course, when you get home and you eat one and it doesn't taste good. Buy them where there is good turnover of walnuts. That's really, really important, more than any other nut. For some reason, walnuts just go rancid because they've got probably so much oil in them. And when you buy them, keep them in the freezer or the fridge. Just keeps them fresh for longer. So I've got those walnuts, which we're going to crush in a minute. I've got a half a cup or 110 grams of caster sugar or white sugar and 3 eggs. And that's it. It's a super simple cake. It's a super simple recipe. And these are ingredients really that you might have at home anyway. So you can whip it up at any time, which is what I absolutely love about this cake. All right, let's start. Oven's on. Let's talk about melting chocolate. So you can do this in the microwave and that'll be fine. I find dark chocolate melts quite easily in the microwave. Don't mind that. Dark chocolate melts quite easy in the microwave, but I'm going to do it in a double boiler just so I don't have to turn back and forth from the microwave every 5 seconds. So, because when you heat it in the microwave, you need to do it in increments and keep checking. When it's on a double boiler, it's just easy. It's there. So I've got a saucepan of water. I've got very hot water in there. It was boiling a few minutes ago. And I'm going to put a heat-proof bowl and my chocolate and my butter in it like that. Just 50 grams of chocolate in this cake, which is quite a small amount for a whole cake, yet it's quite chocolatey. It's a miracle, really. So I'm going to put that on. I don't want the water to boil too much. So as soon as it starts bubbling, I'm going to turn it down. let's talk about the walnuts. Now, you can buy crushed walnuts, but I want them crushed a little bit coarser than the ones you buy. It's very funny whenever I make this cake for Danny, because of course it's his mother's cake and it's his favorite cake. He has a bite of the cake and he goes, yeah, the walnuts are too fine, or the walnuts are too coarse, or whatever. Like, you're all rolling your eyes. I know, like, how annoying is he? But he's like trying to relive this memory from his late mother, right? So I try to do it. The one I made on Friday night for dinner, they weren't coarse enough. So I've got to try to get that right coarseness. I'm using a food processor. You can do it by hand. It'll just take a bit longer. And I don't want to puree and I don't want to over process. So let's put them in the food processor with the blade. It's going to be noisy for a few minutes. I'm sorry. I'm just going to pulse it to start. So I'm trying to get a coarse chopped walnut. Like, you used to buy, you probably can still buy those crushed peanuts. I think that we used to put on ice cream sundaes. You buy them in the supermarket. That's the sort of level of the size of the walnut bits that I'm looking for, okay? Sorry about the noise. And I just keep checking. So just keep checking. Don't put it on and go away here. Please, please, please. I'm just going to check. How's everybody's Sunday going? And anyone who's not cooking along can say hello or chat. I'd love to hear from you. I see that Barbara's asked a question, not related to this one. You know what? Can't answer that now. You'll have to send me a message on social media or on any of them, and I will check with Karen whose recipe it is. But I don't think so, because it's really a golden syrup biscuit. That's the essence of it. Okay. So let's crush away. Hello. Hey. Hey, Nathan. Good to see you here. All right. How are we going? Just a couple more pulses and we're there. Nearly there. Nearly there. Yep. Okay. When I first made this cake, I processed them way too much. I'm going to turn this down now. I just want it to be really hot and just simmering, so it'll melt it really at a relaxed level. That's it. I'll show you a bit closer. Let's just tip these out. Okay, so you've got to be careful with walnuts because they have such a high oil content that you don't over process them and turn them into sort of walnut paste. That's not what we want. All right, I can put this away now. We're done with this. Bear with me 1 second. All right, done. So this is my walnuts. Now, I've probably gone maybe a step too far. I mean, it doesn't matter for me because I don't mind it a little bit finer, but you want that or maybe a step before that, okay? So our walnuts are done. Now we need to separate the eggs. Let's check how the chocolate is going. No, so it's not quite melted. We'll just let that keep going. All right, eggs, sugar. Get rid of that. Now, how do you separate your eggs? Everybody has their own way, I know. I always use 3 glasses like this because one of them is bound to not separate well, and then you're in trouble. So what you don't want to do, you don't want to separate them straight into your mixing bowl, because what happens inevitably is that the last egg you separate, the yolk's going to fall in, and you don't want that. You really want clean egg whites that have got not one skerrick of yolk in them. So I just take a glass like this. I do the side crack. I know everybody's got their own. There you go. First one didn't work. Oh, yeah, that's all right. Okay, and then I put them in separate glasses, put the first white into my mixing bowl. Second one. So it doesn't matter if there's a bit extra white in the yolks, but you can't have any yolk in the white. I wonder which of you are cooking along with me today. I guess you can't type and cook along. It's very hard. I get it. I get it. Okay, second egg white in. I find that some batches of eggs don't separate well. Like the yolks are sort of not as solid as others, and I don't know the reason. Okay, here we go. Yep. Okay, so this is the third one. It's just 3 eggs in this loaf cake. So get rid of those. Okay, so I have my 3 whites in my mixing bowl and my 3 yolks here. All right, I'm just going to get a towel, sorry. Just bear with me. Okay, so I've got my 3 egg whites. What I have forgotten is my pinch of salt. So let's get everything ready. Egg whites in a clean bowl. My yolk's ready to use soon. Everything else can go away. I'm going to need a whisk and a strong arm, or an electric mixer or a stand mixer. I would definitely do this in the stand mixer, but I just want to be able to show you, so I'm doing it with this today. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? We're going to put a little pinch of salt in with the egg whites. It just helps stabilize them as they get thicker, and I'm going to start whisking in 1 second. Before I do that, I'm going to take this off the heat. As you can see, my chocolate is completely melted, and I want it to cool before the next stage. So I'm just going to let it sit there. Before I get to the egg whites, I'm actually going to talk about lining the tin. So I'm using a loaf tin, as I said, and I've just cut the baking paper to size to the width of my tin. And I'm using this, which I call cooking glue, which is canola spray. I don't use it for anything else other than sticking baking paper to tins. It's really good for that. So I'm going to spray that. It's got a funny flavour, so I don't really want to eat it. Makes excellent glue. And you know how your baking paper's got a curve in it? Make sure you line your tins with the curve going that way, because otherwise it tends to flip up and over into your batter, which is not ideal. So I'm going to put that in. Is that right? No, this way. Okay. So I'm doing it, and I just want to be able to reach the sides to pull it out at the end. So I could have made it a bit bigger. You'll see on the other one I did before, and I'm putting one at each end as well. Okay, so that's it. Tin is lined, ready to go. Okay, back to our egg whites. How are we going, everyone? Say hi. Are you there? Talk to me. All right, you don't have to. All right, let's go. It's going to be noise again. Start on low always with your whisking. I'm going to start on 2. This goes up to 8, I think. Just give it a whisk to get it going. And then you can slowly increase it. I'm never going to go more than halfway in the speed, okay? I'm never going to go to half the maximum. I'm never going to go to more than half the maximum. All right. I'm just going to whisk it until it is completely opaque or white. I don't want this translucent colour. And we're looking for stiff peaks in the end, which means I'll be able to turn the bowl upside down and it won't move. My sugar. You can see now it's starting to get opaque. That clear egg white is gone. All right. And as soon as it is frothy and opaque, I can start adding my sugar. If you find your bowl moves all over the bench like mine does, just put it on a towel like that. Just going to add a bit of sugar at a time, just to make sure it's fully incorporated. Okay, so sorry about the noise. Very noisy. Just to show you what it looks like now, half the sugar is in, and it's getting to be a lovely soft peak now. You could just dive into that, but we're going to keep going. So this isn't one, I'm not making those meringues where you need to do 1 spoon at a time. You don't need to be that careful. I've added the sugar in about 4 lots. Okay, done. Remember, I've got egg whites, a pinch of salt, and some sugar in here. And I want it to be fairly stiff. Not super stiff, but fairly stiff. You can see what I mean. You can see that it's leaving a really good trail in there, which is what I want. Okay, so it's not quite stiff just yet, but it is. I'm going to give it another 10 seconds, and I think it'll be there. And I'm on speed 4 out of 8. Okay. It's looking great. Now, that's it. I could turn it upside down, but I'm not going to. But you can see what that looks like. It's lovely, and it is a really stiff mixture. Not, it's not really, I could go further. It could be more stiff than it is, but it's perfect for what I want. Next step is it's quite unconventional, add the egg yolks into these, okay? So this is what I do. I'm going to keep whisking. And I'm going to put one egg yolk in at a time. And just whisk to incorporate. Just like that. So you see why I'm not doing it in the stand mix today. It's much easier to show you what I'm doing in this. Oh. Okay. Second egg yolk. Third egg yolk. In. That's it. Done. Electric mixer can go. I need to. No, that's not ideal. That's a better idea. Who's done that before? Like turn the mixer on when the beaters are still in like that, and then it goes everywhere. I've now got egg white all over my laptop. But you know what? Might be delicious later. All right, I need to give these, I'm just going to put these in there. I need to give them a quick wash. I just realized I need to reuse them for the icing. But let's give them a minute. Okay, so this is my mixture. Now I need to add in the chocolate and the nuts. Okay, just a reminder, your oven should be on 160 degrees Celsius, 320 degrees Fahrenheit. If you've got a fan-forced oven that's quite hot, you should probably do it at 145 degrees Celsius if it's a really strong fan oven. My chocolate mixture is now cooled, and I'm going to add it to my egg mixture. Just tip it in like that, or scrape it in, I should say. A combo of tip and scrape. Okay. And then I'm going to use a spatula, and I've got these lovely big ones to just fold that in. Remember, we don't want to deflate that lovely frothy mixture we have. So I haven't mixed it in fully. It's just like swirled now because I'm going to keep mixing with the walnuts, and I'm going to put in the walnuts. And the idea here is really just to keep the mixture as light as you can. So I am using a spatula, and I am going around the outside of the bowl like that. This mixture is so luscious. That's all I can say. It's one of those mixtures that you just want to film and put on Instagram. It's one of those mixtures that you just can't help licking the spoon. It's just delicious and luscious is all I can say. And I'll show you in a second. I'm just concentrating to make sure it is perfectly mixed. Okay, that's it. You can see. Okay, so it's quite a sloppy, frothy, chocolatey, nutty mixture. And I'm now going to pour it into my tin, which you saw me prepare earlier. All right. And I just love how it folds into the tin like that. Delicious. I'm doing it this way so you can see, but it's a bit awkward. So I'm just going to switch around. These spatulas are essential because there's no other implement that can get the mixture out like a spatula can. So if you don't have any, I would put it on my baking equipment shopping list. It's essential. And this brand is a Chasseur. Le Creuset make good ones too, but the Chasseur and the Le Creuset are really good. All right, let's get all this out. And of course, my old Pyrex bowl that we've all got a million of, which lasts forever. All right. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's it. I give a little bang. just to get any big air bubbles out from the bottom. And that's it. It smooths itself at the top, and I'm going to put that in the oven afterwards. I didn't want to put my oven on now. It makes noise. But don't worry, I did make one earlier for us to ice together. All right. Just going to pop it over there. And let's get ready for the next thing, which is, of course, the icing. Now, I just need to wash these. It's actually quite unconventional what I'm doing, but anyway, I'm just washing my whisks so I can use them again in a minute for the icing. All right. And I wash them in the water that I'm going to use for melting the chocolate, but that's all right. I'm just going to grab a clean tea towel. I'll be back in 1 second. Bear with me, please. All right. All right, so let's talk icing. First rule always is the cake has to be completely, can I say it enough times, at room temperature before you ice it, okay? Otherwise, it's going to slide off, melt in, do everything you don't want it to do. So you need to make your cake a couple of hours ahead of icing it. This cake also lasts quite well. You could make it a couple of days ahead, leave it in the tin, put some plastic wrap and foil around it and just put it in the pantry, or actually even the fridge, and then take it out to ice it when you want to serve it. But if you're making it on the same day, you need to let it cool. Really, I can't tell you enough times to do that. Let's talk about icing. So if you want to do a really simple icing, it's not even an icing, it's really a topping. You can just melt a block of chocolate, use a milk chocolate or a dark chocolate, melt it gently with a little bit of butter, let it cool, and pour it over the cake. Simple, easy, takes 2 seconds, right? But this recipe came with this frosting that I have to say has caused me quite a few headaches over the years. I said earlier that the version in the book, the method doesn't quite work. If you do follow the book and you find that you've got this liquid frosting, I suggest you just put it in the fridge for half an hour and it will firm up and then you can use it. So it's not lost or ruined. It's just not firm enough to spread. So I've been working on this for a few weeks to try to get it to the spreadable consistency that it's supposed to be. And there are a few challenges here that I'll tell you about. Firstly, if you use milk chocolate, which is the original recipe, you have to be super careful with your melting because milk chocolate seizes in a second. It just goes lumpy, separates. So I suggest to definitely use a double boiler rather than the microwave for milk chocolate. And also, if it does seize, what you can do, it's sort of counterintuitive, is put like a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of boiling water into the chocolate mixture that's seized and stir, like that, get the drift, and it will fix it. Okay, so it's definitely fixable. Don't chuck it out, but it's an issue that happens to all of us. So today I'm going to do a dark chocolate version just because it's a little bit less fraught with worry. So you can do dark or chocolate, dark or milk. You can do half, whatever you like for this frosting if you're going down the frosting route. It's got brandy in it. Don't have to do it with brandy, but it just adds a little something. I don't even like to drink brandy. Like I couldn't actually drink that. I don't think. I like it. I don't know if I even like it as a drink, but it's interesting. Let me see. No, it's not my thing at all. But the point is a little bit in the frosting just is delicious, okay? Trust me, as an obviously non-brandy drinker, the frosting can have a bit of it. Let's go through the frosting ingredients. We have 1 block or, 100 grams of chocolate, 20 grams of unsalted butter, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 1 egg. Now, I've got some little Easter eggs, these lovely little speckled ones, which I found at my local store, which are really nice if you want to make this cake for Easter because you can put the frosting on and then put the eggs on to decorate it and make it really Easterish. If you're celebrating Passover this week, probably not going to do the eggs. Up to you, just a thought, okay? Let's open this now. So we've got 100 grams of chocolate. And I'm going to put it into a glass bowl again for melting. It's interesting, there's more chocolate in the frosting than there is in the actual cake, which is why it's definitely double chocolate. Maybe it should be called triple chocolate. Okay, I'm going to put the chocolate and the butter into my heat-proof bowl again, and I'm going to put it over my hot saucepan of water. Okay, let me just chuck that away. All right, let's see what we've got here. We have got our sugar and our egg. Now, I'm going to separate the egg again. You know, before when I was getting ready for this morning, I had one egg left, and it's not good to just have one egg left when you need one egg. And so I went to separate it for this session. And what happened? The yolk broke straight away. So I just stood there and looked at it. This was like at 9:30 this morning and thought, yeah, I've got to go to the supermarket, which is what I did this morning. Okay. Great question. Sorry about my dogs. Hey, shush. Winston. Don't know what they're barking at. Okay, great question, Deanna. The question is, if we make the cake today, should we make the icing on the day you are serving? Because this has raw eggs in the icing, it's good timing for the icing, for the warning about raw eggs. 100% the icing has to be made on the day you're serving it. You could probably make it a day ahead, ice it, frost it, and then put it in the fridge already frosted. Raw eggs, okay? So if you are pregnant or unwell or have health issues, raw eggs are probably not something you should be eating. It's the same as a chocolate mousse. We're pretty much making a chocolate mousse frosting for this cake. So just beware that it is raw, and I wouldn't use it more than a day after it's been made. You have to store it in the fridge once the cake is iced. Thank you, Deanna, for that question. That's really a good one. Okay, let's separate this. See if this works. Perfect. So for this icing recipe, or I'm going to call it a frosting, you need an egg separated into a white and a yolk. We need the sugar, 2 teaspoons, the brandy, and the chocolate, which we're melting now. Okay, I'm going to turn that up a bit. We're going to need, which way am I going to do this? Okay, I've just got 2 bowls here. I'm really using a lot of bowls today, aren't I? While the chocolate's melting, I'm actually going to start taking the cake out of the tin, the one I made earlier. So let me just put those over there. Okay. It was funny this morning. I was thinking about this session, and then I thought, I don't have a cake to show you how to ice. So I quickly had everything measured already. So I used those ingredients to make this cake. And really, once you've made this a couple of times, you'll agree with me that it is so quick and easy to make. You could even have your walnuts done ahead of time, eggs separated, and everything is literally 5 minutes. Okay, so you can see what I've done. This cake has like a very pavlova vibe about it, or meringue vibe, because of the lack of flour and because of the way it's made. So you always get a cracked top, and that's just part of it. If you don't like a cracked top and you want to ice it smoothly, all you're going to do is flip it out onto your serving tray like this. I would just make sure it was coming out of the tin by going in at the corners. And I see I've put baking paper on the side, so you can just lift it and it comes out beautifully. So if you just flip that over and then take the baking paper off, you're going to have a smooth top. I prefer the rustic look, and I like this meringue crust. It's just lovely. And so I'm going to take it out carefully. I always serve my cakes on baking paper, and the edges do fall in, so don't freak out, okay? This is what happens. You can take the end bits off. Okay, my cake is out. So this bit, you can either put it back on top or you can eat it. Guess which one I'm going to do? I'm going to eat it. Why not, right? It's delicious. All right. So there's my cake. That's the good side. That's the less good side, but it really doesn't matter. If you use a smaller tin, it's going to be higher, but it just tastes as delicious. I'm just evening this up a bit. All right. Put this aside till the frosting's ready. This is doing quite nicely. Okay, so if you're making, I just want to say something about chocolate. So you can see there are still some bits not quite melted. If you were doing milk chocolate, I would take it off now and just let it sit and melt at a lower temperature. And now I'm going to do exactly that. Just going to take this off. It's melted really nicely. What I love about these sessions is that you don't see the huge mess. I just like shove everything to each side of me so you don't see any of it. Someone once told me during the Instagram live phase of my life that my kitchen bench was too messy. So I'm really conscious of it now, trying to keep it tidy. Funny that, isn't it? Oh, that's hot. Okay. Oh, it's hot. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a stir. The butter's not quite melted. It helps if you chop up your butter, but it's going to melt anyway. And I want it to cool just a tiny bit before I make the icing. Yum. How's that for deliciousness? There is someone in my family whose name I won't mention who eats melted dark chocolate with butter as a snack sometimes. True story. It's not me. It's someone else. Go figure. All right. So not that I'm judging snacks. All right. So let's just leave that to sit for a moment. So I have my chocolate, which is still hot, just about fully melted. Okay. Hey, Michelle, nice to see you. Chag Sameach to you too. Lovely to have you here. Okay, so I've got my chocolate melted. I've got my egg yolk, my egg white, and I have my sugar and the brandy if we want. I've got my beaters, which are now clean, and I need to get a glass, my bowls, got them here. Let me think for a minute. Okay, I'm going to put the egg whites in here and the yolk in there. Look, I am using 3,000 bowls today. I'm not going to lie. It's just something you have to do. And then just, you're going to have to do a bit of washing up at the end of this, but it's worth it. You'll see what I mean. All right. I need my salt again, and I'm ready to start. So I have my 1 egg white. You, of course, can do this by hand. There's no reason to do this with an electric mixer. But I'm going to do it with the electric mixer today just to save a bit of time. And, yeah, I feel a bit lazy doing it, I must say, but let's just go ahead. All right. So, and once the mixer's out, right? Okay, so I've got my 1 egg white, which I'm going to whisk exactly like I did for the cake, just the same. All right. Whisking it, and I want this to be stiffer than the cake batter egg whites because I really want a nice spreadable consistency of this frosting. Okay, so you can see it started to be opaque like last time. I went a bit faster earlier, but should be all right. And now I'm going to add in my sugar. Okay, sugar's going in. So remember I had that cloth there. Just makes it so much easier because I don't have 3 hands. Okay. So I've got my egg white and salt, and now I'm adding the sugar. And this is the frosting. And I'm on setting 4, I think, out of 8. So you'll see the beater, the whisk starts to leave a really good trail in it. You know it's nearly ready. I wish I could show you the trail. I can a bit. You can see it leaves its mark as it goes around once they're just about ready. All right. Okay, nearly done. This is the part where you have to concentrate a bit. It's just not ideal to over whisk at this stage, and you get like dry, clumpy bits, which are going to be hard to turn into a delicious, luscious frosting. But I think that's good. See, perfectly upside down. I think that's lovely. Let's have a look. With the spatula, hold on. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's my egg whites done. Now, I have my single egg yolk, which I'm going to just give a bit of I'm going to just beat it a little bit. It's in a bowl. Sorry, this is so messy. All right, so I've got my egg yolk. And I'm just going to put a little bit of the chocolate, which is just about cool. Look how lovely and smooth that is now, just from sitting there. It's just beautiful. It's a glorious thing. Makes me think of Willy Wonka, but the movie. But Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But when you watch the movie, the chocolate in the river is not like that. It's obviously just coloured water. Has anyone noticed that? Does anyone think they could have done better? But it was an amazing movie, so I don't mean to knock it. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of the chocolate in. We just want to temper the eggs and the chocolate, which means not just combine them all at once, do bit by bit. You just get less likely to have a problem. And my chocolate's a tiny bit warm, so it's sort of important to do that. Now, with milk chocolate, you just need to stir a little bit less because the more you agitate it, the more it's likely to seize. It is definitely more challenging. Okay, so I'm getting a lovely smooth mixture in this bowl. And now we can add the rest of it. Again, spatula is just absolutely essential. All right. I don't talk when I'm concentrating so hard. Is anyone cooking along with me today? I'd love to know. And if you are cooking along, please will you post a picture of your finished cake on social media, Instagram, Facebook. I would love to see it. So this is my chocolate mixture, which, because of the egg yolk, just gets this sort of fudgy quality straight away, which I love. Now, into that, I'm going to add 1 spoon of my whites to lighten it. And the aim here is to keep it as light as possible. I'm going to say it's more important than the cake to keep this light for this frosting. So you see I'm going from underneath and over, and I'm turning the bowl as I go. And I'm going to say I even went a step over with these whites because they're a bit lumpy. So I could have held it back 1 step. 1 whiz of the mixer, I think. Okay. And now I'm going to add the rest in. All right. Okay. How's that looking? See, that's what it's going to look like, and I want it to be smooth. So I'm just going to keep doing it. So happy you're cooking along, Deanna. Yay. Yay. Please show me a picture of your cake. I would love to see it. So I'm just turning and taking the spatula around the bowl, coming up from underneath. It's just the method I use. I know that a lot of people use a metal spoon. I find a spatula much, much easier. So this is lovely. This is lovely and smooth and shiny. So I'm happy with this. Sorry. It's delicious as well. I just don't want to see any egg whites in there. As I said, I could have taken the egg whites 1 step, finished them 1 step earlier. All right, that's it. So that frosting is done. I want to show you a couple of things that I did earlier, just so you can get an idea. So this is a dairy milk. This is the milk chocolate frosting that I made earlier, and I've just left it out on the bench for an hour or so, and it's actually delicious. It's very fudgy and the texture is quite amazing. So that's the milk chocolate one. Remember, if you make the milk chocolate one and it's too liquidy because you've had to add some hot water to get that chocolate right, just pop it in the fridge and it will thicken up. Don't leave it for too long because it's chocolate mousse pretty much, and you know what happens to chocolate mousse, it sets. And this is a chocolate one that I did earlier this morning. I want to show you how it sets, and it actually turns into chocolate mousse. So you don't want to wait that long because then you can't spread it on the cake. All right, here's our cake. Are we ready? Let's get this mess out of the way. All right. Ready? I'll put the nice side to you. And I'm just going to pour it over the cake. That's it. And then carefully spread it. It's probably not the best thing to use this big clunky spatula. All right, so I'm just going to spread it. And I don't mind a bit dripping down the sides. That's fine. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm just spreading it all over the top, down up to the edges. And as I said, I don't mind it dropping over the sides at all. Looks quite lovely and rustic. Oh, it's too much. So when that happens, eat it, clean it up, and it's fine. So that is my cake done and frosted. If you wanted to add the Easter eggs, you could do that now, or you can just leave it like that. If you're serving it tonight, let it cool to room temperature, the icing, which is a bit warm, and then pop it in the fridge until you serve it. If you're serving it within a couple of hours, you don't need to put it in the fridge. So that is the chocolate walnut loaf cake. How does that look? Oh, I need to clean it up a bit. Delicious. I'm going to cut a slice just to show you what it looks like inside. No, I'm not going to use that knife. Oh, yeah, well, okay. It is just a beautifully textured cake. You eat it and you really don't feel like it's a flourless cake or a nut cake. It just has this incredible texture that's just delicious. I like it served with a dollop of, well, actually not even a dollop. I'm going to say a pour, like a really good, generous pour of thickened cream would be my preference, or pure cream. Yum, I love it. I'm going to have a piece as soon as we're done. So that is it for me today. I just want to say thank you for being with me today. I hope you've been enjoying the episodes of Walking Up an Appetite. We have 5 episodes already up there, and the 6th episode is dropping on Monday night at 6 p.m. Sydney time, and it is Leafy Lunch Salads, and it is one of my favourites. I really loved it. I'm in my part of town, walking from Darlinghurst to Bondi to Watson's Bay along the cliffs, and it's just gorgeous. So I'd love you to watch it. I'd love you to like. I'd love you to subscribe. And please comment and let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy it? What would you like to see next time? Thank you all for being with me. It's been great fun this morning. Deanna, I hope your cake is fantastic. And everyone else, I hope yours works out too if you're going to make it. I will see you next time. Thank you all. Bye for now. See ya. And I should say, happy Passover, happy Easter, and happy cooking, everyone. See you.